Braylon, DeAndre Hopkins released after 3 seasons in Arizona by the Cardinals today. Buffalo, Baltimore, New England teams reportedly pursuing him. This is not a post-June 1st designation, so Arizona is going to take the entire $22.6 dead cap hit on this. That's from Ian Rappaport. So he is going to get his money. It's up to D-Hop now where he's going to want to go.
They can trade him.
They can trade him.
Up till 4 today.
Exactly. They can trade him for another hour and a half, so we'll see what happens. But would he be a good fit here in Detroit?
Let me ask you that before I get to that. This is where you need Neil Rule. Maz, I'll defer to you. If they trade him by 4, what is the team on the hook for that picks him up?
I guess that'll determine on the trade what they do. If Arizona picks up some of their money.
Okay.
But Arizona don't care. They'll take the hit because they don't want to sign anybody because they are, what kind of dumping do you call it?
What?
It's yes.
Organic dump?
Organic dump.
They're
Organically dumping.
Yeah, they have like 4 number 1. They got so many picks next year. They are not going to win this year. They have no quarterback.
Yeah.
They're dumping this year.
Here comes the next question. With D-Hop. So with D-Hop, that means you can give D-Hop what you want.
Yes.
You can negotiate. Bam.
He could sign for $1 million because he's going to get his money anyway.
There we go. Back to you, Ryan Ermanni. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, you bring in D-Hop. Look, I understand that he missed 6 games last year because of the PEDs. Look, when you get to the PEDs, a.k.a. performance-enhancing drugs, you can go into GNC literally and buy anything, and 75% of that stuff you're going to test positive for. That's just how it is nowadays. Every year, that NFL list of things that are in there gets longer and longer and longer and longer. And I'm not making excuses to get popped because you got to take care of yourself, but whatever. So a lot of people aren't trying to touch him because of that. The Lions should absolutely take a flyer on D-Hop for the right price. And the right price for me, 1 year, I give D-Hop $15 million for 1 year. I give D-Hop $15 million for 1 year. You're talking about one of the best receivers in the last 20 years. You're talking about a guy. I haven't seen D-Hop drop 1 pass his whole career.
Speaking of which, since 2020, DeAndre Hopkins' drop rate is 1.0%. That is the lowest among any wide receiver with a minimum of 175 targets since 2020. By the way, you know who else is on this list?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1.1%.
Yeah, he definitely catches everything in terms of on the field that has a pigskin and strings attached to it. But with D-Hop, man, not only do you bring in a guy that you – just look at last year, Flannel 7. I know you're a guy that knows D-Hop. Just look what he did in 8 games last year. 8 games last year, he had 772 yards. He had 7 touchdowns. You're talking about bringing in this guy, and I want to get you in. Jameson Williams is a guy that we're talking about can be the future. That's going to be the future of this team. He's going to miss 6 games. You bring in D-Hop for that first 6-game stretch and then have him work with Jameson organically. It is invaluable for Jameson Williams on the field, not to mention getting the Lions off on the right start. Because what did we talk about? Your favorite team, your favorite player is playing the Detroit Lions game 1. If they can't hang with them, that could set them back to start the season.
Yeah, and then they have another tough game at home against Seattle. That's a pretty kind of a gauntlet at the beginning of the year. You don't want to go 0-2, and of course Jameson Williams. You hope that he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver when he is back, but he's missing the first 6 games.
Number 1.
I mean, you know what? You're not wrong.
That's
in that.
the long term,
At least with his talent, that is absolutely true. And with DeAndre Hopkins, for the right price, I agree with you, Braylon. He obviously can still play. He's been one of the best receivers in the league for 5 to 7 years, maybe longer.
Yeah.
I think this offense. Can you imagine, especially with DeAndre Hopkins, and when Jameson Williams comes back, it'll be unstoppable. It could be right up on par with the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills or the Philadelphia Eagles or something like that. If they can afford it, I would bring him in as well.
And the great thing about that, too, is DeAndre Hopkins does not take away from what Jameson Williams does. Jameson Williams is your burner. Jameson Williams is your guy that's 4, almost 2. He's getting down the field. He's going to take the top off the defense. DeAndre Hopkins is a guy that runs great routes. He runs over the middle. He runs all the routes in the route book. He doesn't mind going over the middle. Obviously, like we just said, he's not dropping anything. He's a guy that can get you going, and he's hungry. People really haven't seen DeAndre Hopkins ever in a big market space. He was in the Houston Texans. Then he was over there with the Arizona Cardinals. Detroit. Now, you don't think big market space. Everybody in the country is talking about the Detroit Lions. They got Monday Night Football. They have 5 primetime games. This would be a great situation for D-Hop to come into and be the man. Buffalo's on his short list, but Detroit should be on there as well.
You remember what his someone asked him, what do you want for your next team? And he put a list out. He's like, I want a team that has a pretty darn good defense. I want a team that has a really good front office, steady. And I want a team that has a quarterback that really wants to win. Those three things, they are all check marks here in Detroit. But let's face it, the bottom line is Brad Holmes is not signed really, except for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, one huge name guy. He just don't do that. He don't bring a Bobby Wagner in. He just doesn't go that route. I doubt he's coming here. I think it's between Buffalo and New England, to be perfectly honest.
So as we are talking right now, if you're watching live, it's 2:38 p.m. on Friday, May 26th. If you're watching or listening another time, well, maybe he will have signed with somebody at that point. But as of now, right now, you could go listen to sports radio in Buffalo, Kansas City, New England, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Dallas, New York Giants. Everybody's having the same conversation about DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
Right now, at this minute, right now, all around the country, if your football team is a contender, they are having this conversation right now surrounding DeAndre Hopkins. One place in particular I do not want to see him is Philadelphia. If it's not Detroit, I don't care where it is. I just don't want to see it be Philadelphia because with Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith, I just don't want to see it there.
Yeah, they got too many wide receivers already on their list. They have two other wide receivers that are cold. They don't need him. I think he's going to Kansas City personally. I think that's the best fit for him because they got a young guy, Kadarius Toney. They got a couple other guys that are just kind of pick and play. You know how they do now because they have the big money for Patrick Mahomes, the big money for Travis Kelce. He goes over there. He lights it up, and he's instantly the number one. But let's get back to Detroit. The cool thing about this, as it relates to DeAndre Hopkins, at least Detroit is in the conversation. At least we know that DeAndre Hopkins, if he took a real good look at Detroit, this is a contender. This is a team that no one has picked anywhere lower than 5 finishing in the NFC this year. They're a team that many people pick to win the NFC North. They're a team that's ascending, not descending. That's not staying in the same. So DeAndre Hopkins, Detroit's at least a team now that he would think about. Detroit's at least a team now that he may come to and even take the meeting.
A dark horse team on here, I think, is Baltimore. And Chili Damon says he's going to the Ravens. Remember what Lamar Jackson said back before he signed his contract with Baltimore? He said, go get DeAndre Hopkins and OBJ and then come talk to me. Well, they got one of those guys. They got one of those guys.
He already signed, though.
I don't understand how people would just be like, he's going here. They literally, the Baltimore Ravens have Rashad Bateman, who's a damn good receiver. They have Duvernay. Now they went out and got Odell Beckham. And they signed Zay Flowers. Yeah. How the hell is he going to fit in with those 4 wide receivers? He's not going to Baltimore.
Well, you do need
Kansas City.
You do. Yeah, well, Kansas City is the most logical choice, right?
But you do need what as it relates to
I was
Baltimore.
going to say you absolutely need 3. Sometimes 4 wide receivers in most cases.
Rashad Bateman's a 1.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the Baltimore situation.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Buffalo is the other one.
I mean, you got Stephon Diggs and
you
your
play in
boy
Buffalo?
Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I know. You want to go? I know that's the thing. You want to go play in Buffalo?
The only attractive thing about playing in Buffalo is you playing with Josh Allen and Von Miller
and the fans.
Hey, that's for the fans.
Yeah,
like, if I'm
that's
a
great franchise.
No, it's a great franchise, but it's Buffalo, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you had the chance to go play.
You're talking to a former player. Like, I'm not playing in Buffalo, and I understand how good they are. I know this building is state of the art.
Open air stadium.
Open air, but it's minus 20 as soon as December hits.
How dumb is that?
I'm not going to
Open
Buffalo, and it's 40 miles from downtown. I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs if they're looking at me. I'm looking at the Detroit Lions if they're looking at me, and that would be the end of my list.
Yeah, it is.
The Patriots?
Yeah.
They're not going to the Patriots.
Well, they got nobody.
They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since Randy Moss. You know how long ago that was?
The Patriots are a dead franchise to me. Just a dead franchise. They shouldn't show up on any list.
They had the number 3 defense last year. I just want you to remember that. And now they got Bill O'Brien running the offense. Mac Jones is going to do much better this year. They're not as bad as you think they are.
No, I understand. They're a boring football team to me.
Yeah, they're boring.
They're a
but that
boring
doesn't mean
football
they're bad.
team to me. But I don't think
It's culture.
I don't think DeAndre Hopkins wants to go to a boring drill sergeant either.
He might not.
You know, you call up Andy
said might
Reid.
not. He doesn't
Hey,
wanna go
Andy,
there.
Andy, I want to come win a championship.
And
You know, you want me to come over? Yeah, I do.
I'd rather go to Dan. Hey, Dan, DC, NCDC. Oh, yeah, man. Come on over here. Come on over here, Hop. We got it for you. This is the place for you, man.
but you know,
Come on.
You also got to look at like the places players have been. Like he hasn't been to any franchises that he's like. He's got terrible experience with the Houston Texans, terrible experience with the Arizona Cardinals, partly in because of him himself. He caused that, but he's had bad franchises, man. He wants to go somewhere where one, it's a cool situation, it's a cool environment, it's a winning environment, and everybody's cool, man. He's on the same page. That Bill Belichick and the Patriots, he's not going there. I can tell you that. And the only reason Randy Moss went there is because he got traded.
Give me a top three. Give me a top three. Before we leave this, give me a top three. DeAndre Hopkins will go X, Y, and Z.
KC,
Okay.
Detroit, Buffalo.
Detroit 2. That's awesome. I love to hear that.
KC, Detroit, Buffalo, because the things he said, defense, you saw what Brad Holmes did in the offseason, and that secondary, you saw what he did in the draft to build the defense up. So with that being said, that's check one. A franchise that's in shape. Let's just call it in shape. They're an in-shape franchise. They know what they want. They know what they want to do. The things they talk about, they actually go out and do it. The players love them. That's step 3. And they're a contender. Well, that's step 2. Now they're a contender. That's step 3. Why wouldn't you take the phone call? Why would you not want to come here? And you can build for the future. DeAndre Hopkins has made a lot of money. He's made a lot of cash. He wants to make more, but he wants to win. He's in a space to be in a good franchise, good headspace. Leaving Cleveland, I was so happy to get to the Jets, but I didn't even pay attention to the franchise until I got to the New York Jets. Oh, my God, it was night and day. It's nothing like being around that. And when you get around people that make you feel good, people that will tell you the truth, and people that are building something special, the money starts to not be that important. Now you start to say, you know what? Shoot, I probably could squeeze you guys for 20 if I wanted to. Man, let's get this championship. Here's 12. Here's 12 for a year. Let's see how it goes, and let's come back 2024.
I got the Bills, I got the Chiefs, and I got a dark horse of the New York Football Giants.
Ooh.
It's a good one.
But
Here,
if I'm him, I'm not going to play with Daniel Jones.
I got Kansas City, number 1. I got Philadelphia, number 2. Those are the two.
How?
Championship.
But he's still a number 1 receiver.
Championship.
Yeah, but he's number 1.
Oh, I could be wrong. It's my list.
A number 1's not going to team. He may be a number 3.
It's just my list.
But I'm trying to educate you.
Okay, and then my dark horse, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys.
Why not?
Go play with C.D. Lamb.
Yeah, he was with, actually, bringing up people who were with. He was actually with, after the football season, he was with Dez Bryant. DeAndre Hopkins was with Dez Bryant working out back in back in March, April. So that could be something there. That may be number 1.
Ooh.
Like, you might be honest, that might be number 1. See how I
man,
pushed you?
see,
and you push back?
I push back a little bit sometimes. You know, you never know what you're going to get with me.
And now they're on TV looking.